Hello, everybody, and welcome to this LeaderLabs episode of FREDTalks and Guests. Today, I'm very, very excited because I have with us in the guest room, Teddie Bennett. And Teddie is going to really challenge us and going to inspire us as she talks about a subject that I'm excited to hear her talk about, leading a people-led ministry. So let me tell you a little bit about Teddie Bennett. Now, I can't tell you everything because her resume is just full, but I'd like to tell you just a few things that I think will set the context for where Teddie is and what she's going to tell us today. She's the Administrative Director for Men and Women of Action. A lot of you would have known this by just simply MWOA. She serves as this administrative director, and she's been there with this internationally faith-based nonprofit, but it provides opportunities for hands-on, for lay people, for ministers, for anybody really to do hands-on construction, disaster relief, all types of celebration events, and discipleship around the world. Teddie's been with Men and Women of Action 27 years. Teddie, I can't believe that it's been 27 years. This blows my mind. And listen at this. She's traveled to more than 37 countries since 1994. She's coordinated over 1,500. That's 1,500 building and humanitarian projects. She's led numerous celebration and humanitarian teams to 5 to 7 different continents. Now, Teddie has worked extensively in disaster relief around the world. She traveled to Sri Lanka following the 2004 tsunami that devastated that particular island and that part of the world. She worked there with children and families affected by that tsunami, that storm, and during the 2005 Hurricane Katrina relief effort, she spent months literally living in New Orleans, coordinating the cleanup teams that were there. When 5 tornadoes hit Bradley County, some of you may remember this, in our Cleveland, Tennessee area, on April 27, 2011, Teddie coordinated the MWOA disaster relief efforts, and most recently, she set up a drive-through relief center to help those affected by the Easter 2020 tornadoes. So I'm telling you, this is not a theoretician. Teddie Bennett is a practitioner with plenty of experience under her belt. She's been a founding member of the Firewall Project, which evolved into the Global Fire Advance Initiative. GFA, the Global Firewall Initiative, is a collaborative project that equips men and women in discipleship, evangelism, and church planting around the world, and most importantly, in Africa. Teddie is a native of Barberville, Kentucky. It's a small rural town in eastern Kentucky where she attended Union College. She loves to travel. I guess you probably already got that. She likes to read, enjoys sports. She's a Kentucky Blue Nation fan. I'm going to go ahead and let that out of the bag. Don't even think anything bad about the Blue Nation, or Teddie will probably crawl through the screen and get you. She loves gardening and spending time with her grandchildren. Her greatest sports passion is, what did I say? University of Kentucky basketball. Teddie's married to Dr. Don Bennett, who's the coordinator for ministerial development, School of Ministry for the Church of God. Listen to this. They have 11 grandchildren, and it keeps them very, very busy. See, I told you there was a lot to say about Teddie.
Thank you, Fred. I am so excited and privileged to be able to share today, and I hope I can give something that will help someone in their journey to find their calling and their ministry. So I'm going to do my best.
Oh, you'll do great. I'm really, really excited about it. Okay, Teddie, so why don't you just take it from here and talk to us about a people-led ministry.
Thanks, Fred. You know, I know when you say people-led ministry, it kind of is an oxymoron, a statement, but I thought it might be interesting to the people to hear maybe a little bit of my story and how it all began. And so how do you put a dream into action, and especially a dream of visionary into action? And the little bit of the backstory here is Bob Pace was the founder of MWOA, and he was 51 years old. And in 1983, he founded Men, at that time called Men of Action. And the object of it was to provide a place for men to have hands-on ministry. What he did was, he said he sat in church and he would see men sitting on the pew, and they weren't singing specials, they weren't teaching a class, but he knew they had a skill or a talent, and he wanted to give them that opportunity. So from there, that was his vision. But he was only leading about 3 teams a year from 1983 to 1993, and he was leading the teams himself. He was getting his friends and people, and then he would lead the teams and go. But in 1993, I came on and joined lay ministries in the Church of God, and that's where Bob and MWA was doing their work from. And I was very interested. So in 1995, the Church of God allowed Men of Action to become its own department, and it was under the auspices of the executive committee. And I went with Bob, and together, I call him, I'm the second man of the team. It was a 2-man team, and we started thinking, how can we change this from a 1-man led ministry to something bigger? So 2 things very important happened in 1995. That was really the pivotal year for Men of Action, as they called it. One was, I said, Bob, what do you think about adding women to this? Let's make it Men and Women of Action. And I'll say Bob is a great, just such a great thinker. And he said, I agree, let's do it. And so that's the year we just on our own changed it from Men of Action to Men and Women of Action, a 2-man team making that decision. And also, there was some benefits, and I think I need to tell you what the benefits are. What were the outcomes of changing from Men of Action to Men and Women of Action? 1, it made us more effective. 2, it gave us more functions. We were multifunction. And 3, we really grew. But a real side benefit that maybe you wouldn't even think about was it strengthened our couples. Those marriages were strengthened because it just wasn't the man involved in his calling, but now the husband and the wife together had a calling together. And it was a major move for us. And that was the one very important thing that happened in 1995. The other thing was that Bob said, let's have a leadership retreat. Here in Cleveland, Tennessee, let's invite 30 men. And he said, if 10 come, I will be thrilled. 25 men out of 30 came to that leadership retreat.
Wow.
And it was here in Cleveland at Johnston Woods. I'll never forget it. And that was the time Bob began to train and to mentor. And when the meeting was over, we had 25 project leaders, and they had taken projects on 5 of the continents at that time. We had only done 5 projects in 1995. And in the year 1997, we ended up doing 35 projects. So Bob was really like a mentor to me. And I think one of the things he would do in training, and this is what I liked about it, he said to me one day, hey, I'm leaving on a trip for 2 weeks. And this was the first time I'd be left in the office without him being there. And you're going to have to make some decisions on your own. And I looked at him and he said, so you make those decisions, and when I return, I will stand by your decisions, even if I don't like your decisions, because I trust you. And I know you've heard that before about trust. And you know what that did? That empowered me. It empowered me because he trusted me. And I began to see he was moving. It wasn't about Bob. It wasn't about us. It was about the people. And so I really feel like that helped me know my calling. And I knew that this was my calling also.
Yeah,
And so,
Teddy, if I could just jump in here for a moment.
sure.
Bob and I work together as well. Had an incredible impact on my life during these times. But what you're really talking about is what we talk about in LeaderLabs a lot, is inspiring a shared vision and
Right.
helping other people other than yourself, the leader, to feel ownership, to feel a buy-in to the vision. And literally looking back now, that's what Bob was doing, is it not?
Right, right. And that's what I'm saying. I know he mentored me. And I knew I liked what I was hearing. And there was a statement, how do we put that dream of, he's a visionary and I'm there with him and I'm going to be one of the ones implementing this into action. And so the thing Bob did was he identified his dream. I knew specifically what his dream was.
Yeah.
2, he activated that dream. We made a decision to have these meetings, to incorporate women in there. So we began to make things happen. We had a plan, we implemented it. Number 3, we motivated our dreams. We talked it up to people. We began to communicate. We listened to them so we could learn what they wanted. And then the 4th thing I think we could say we did, we resourced them. How can we help you? What do you need from us? How can we facilitate you? It became an open door for us and to communicate. And I always said when that phone would ring from one of our leaders, it was the most important phone call I had of the day.
Teddy, as I look back and I think about this, you just mentioned something that is so relevant to where we are today in all of our church work, and that is the fact that you invited women to be a part. Mm-hmm. That's a big topic even in the church today, women in ministry. But you guys were kind of on the cutting edge. You guys kind of took a risk, did you not?
You're right. We did. Matter of fact, we had some people, they didn't say a lot, but you knew they weren't 100% on board with that. And it was really funny. We did we just act like nobody said anything. We just kept going right on with it. Just kept moving right on. And I remember when I started changing the stationery, changing the logo and everything, we didn't ask anybody. We just did it. But, and one thing I meant to say, we had that first men's leadership meeting in 95. Well, in 96, I had 30 women come for a women's leadership meeting.
Oh my goodness.
And you had Julie Martinez on the program, and Julie was the very first. She was in Honduras. That was the very first place we took a Women of Action team to do a Christmas celebration.
That is so phenomenal. And again, all of these concepts keep cropping up in my mind of what you're saying, and what you were really saying is that you and Bob, and really the rest of the team,
right,
didn't spend a lot of time focusing on the old. You started focusing on the new. You just didn't really listen that much to the criticism. You focused on what you knew was the new direction for the ministry, and you let that be what propelled you forward.
That's true, and that's like activating it. We just stepped out and started making it happen. And, that's what brings me to that. My second point there was says to, how do you transition from that one person led ministry to this people led ministry? And that's what we started to do, was to change into the women and add the women in, and then have these leadership meetings where we let our leaders know, hey, you are the people that's going to make this happen. And we went from Bob leading one trip 3 to 5 times a year to 25 men all taking a trip immediately. And we had men all through the years that began to actually do 2 and 3 trips a year. And just to put out some numbers there, in 1995, like I said, we did about 3 to 5 trips. And by 1997, we had done 35 trips. Okay, let's go up till today. We've been in over 80 countries. We've done projects in all 50 states. We've done over 2,500 projects around the world. We've got over 6,000 volunteers in our database. And one of the biggest things we ever did was we have state coordinators. We have over 33 state coordinators and special coordinators who coordinate what goes on in their states.
Wow.
Meaning it's a ripple effect. We picked one person, now we have a ripple effect. And now we have a disaster relief coordinator. We work extensively. So it's mind-boggling to me to see when you release your ministry. That's what I want to say to people. Release your ministry. You know, give people a chance and take it out of you. It'll last forever. You know, we're going through our third director now, and we're growing more than ever. If that's not a testament to Bob Pace and to Hugh Carver, and now we have Phil Thompson, I don't know what is. What a testament to see those ministries continue to thrive. So it's pretty exciting for me, you know.
You've had a front row seat to those transitions, and all three transitions have been extremely smooth. We don't always see that in ministry, but the fit was there. People came on to be the executive director who had the passion already for the ministry, but then you provided the continuity for them, you and the office team, for bringing them through, all of which are extremely important when you make these kinds of transitions.
Exactly, and I think that's what's exciting now. My calling, Bob was mentoring me. Now after 27 years, I'm mentoring the women and men in our office, and we've had employees in our office now with me 7-9 years, and they're absorbing. And as I'm nearing changing my life for the next whatever season's going on, I feel good and confident. And I don't think there's any greater compliment to that ministry that we just want to see it going and growing. Someone said, people will imitate what you celebrate. And after I read that, and then it hit me all of a sudden, every year, Men and Women of Action has a rally. And so we call it a rally and celebration. Yeah. We don't celebrate us, we celebrate our people who are doing the work. And I think that also has been vital in our growth, that we've put it out there and they get to go and they get to share and they get to tell their stories. And I think that's really, really important. So
that is important. And again, in LeaderLabs, which you're a graduate of, you and your husband, Don, we talk a lot about Kouzes and Posner and the 5 exemplary practices of a leader. Number 5 is when leaders are at their extraordinary best, they're encouraging the heart. They're celebrating, they're rewarding, they're recognizing their people. They're not afraid. They're not sensitive to actually lifting up the people and rewarding, celebrating, and recognizing them.
That's true. That's true. And another good thing I think is that as a leader, and I learned some of this in LeaderLabs, you have to help people find their gift. And sometimes we cause a problem for people when we put them in a job where they don't fit. And I've seen this in church when you ask someone to do a bus ministry and they shouldn't be doing that. And in about 2 months, they come and say, the Lord told them to give it up. And then before you know it, they've left your church. Yeah. So I think that's really important that we learn what are those people's gifts. And, for instance, if you're not a cook and you don't like to cook, I'm not going to want you to go on a trip and make you the cook. So I think you have to... I know. On my first project in 1995, when I went to Ecuador, I'm like, what am I going to do? I was the waterer of the bricks. So in Ecuador, the bricks crumble.
You were the what? Say that again.
Waterer of the bricks. So I had a water hose, and my job was to keep the bricks wet all day because they crumble in that heat and dry. So I did my job. I watered the bricks. But that was a great lesson and taught me a lot. But going to my third point, because I know time gets away, how do you lead a people-led ministry? And I think the one word, and I've heard you say this a million times, is invest in people. Yeah. You must invest in them. You must put them as the top priority. You must communicate. Well, I wrote down 13 points. And I'll read them because I'm not going to talk about it. Number 1, you need to lead by example. Number 2, you need to help people develop their skills. Number 3, you need to be relational. Number 4, you need to trust people. Number 5, you need to give them responsibilities. 6, allow them to vent their frustrations. That's hard. Number 7, you need to create an atmosphere of openness. And then number 8, give freedom to operate. That's another hard one for leaders sometimes. Number 9, ask them what they need help with. And number 10, when you ask them, be specific in the answers you give them so you can help them.
Right.
And number 11, allow them to try something and fail, and then help them to get back up. Number 11, talk about your own failures and successes. Let them know you also had failures. And then the last one is celebrate those wins, and celebrate them early with them and encourage them. And those things really stuck out in my mind that were important. And in summarizing everything, I would say, are you leading your people-led ministry? Are you enabling people, or are you equipping people? And if there's nothing you get out of that, what I've said today, just ask yourself that question when you're in ministry or whatever. Are you enabling people, or are you equipping them? And I think when you answer that question, you'll know what you need to do. So it's been a joy. I hope some of my experiences has helped people to understand and, what's
going on in your life right now?
Well, after 27 years, I think it's better to move out of a ministry when you're on a high note and you're feeling good and feel good about the leadership that is there and the staff that is there. And I don't feel any better than I do now on what I see Men and Women of Action at. And I feel it's time to let some younger people come in. Not that I'm old, but still. So I'll be retiring at the end of August this year. And MWA has my heart. Yeah. And a funny story, my children, when they were smaller and I was doing this, they would say, Mom, please don't tell us any more stories about Men and Women of Action. And but as time went on, I was smart and took them all on projects. And so I got them. But that's what I'll be doing. I'll be moving on, and I'm sure I'll still be involved with them. I mean, I can't help it. But my hands are going to be off, and I'm going to turn the reins over to a really great group of staff. So that's
Teddy, it's been a delight for me to have kind of a front row seat all of these years to watch from the very beginning until now. And you have been really a cornerstone leader in Men and Women of Action that has blessed the Church of God and countless other denominations. It hasn't really been just about the Church of God.
No,
it's been really a kingdom focus. But you are an arm for the Church of God denomination, of which is much appreciated. But it's been a delight to watch the growth of the ministry, to watch your growth. And I'm kind of excited about the next chapter, because I know you a little bit. I just don't see you laying down. I think there's more out there ahead for you and for Dr. Bennett. And I'm excited about what's going to unfold in the future. So thank you for coming and being a part. And let me remind all the folks that you can get a PDF version, a downloadable document, leader's guide of Teddy's talk today. So if you missed something, of course, you can rewatch this video. It's always there. You can send it to your friends, your family, your colleagues. Sit down and watch it with your team and go over the topics and all of the points that she's made, because this has been extremely substantive today. And so, Teddy, once again, thank you so much for being with us and being a part of this. And I look forward to the premiere of this particular video.
Thank you, Fred. I really appreciate it, and thanks to your audience.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real delight to have with us Teddie Bennett from Men and Women of Action, the administrative director of that ministry. And I know that you have found this to be challenging and inspiring. Teddie's available to come and to speak at any one of your events and any type of service that you might have. I would take advantage of her years of experience to motivate. She's a great motivational speaker. You've seen her communication skills today. So get in touch with Teddie and have her come with you. Once again, let me remind you that this particular video will be premiering, and then we are archiving all of these FREDTalks and guests for you. And we want to just remind you If you have a choice what to do, we want you to invest in you. So this is Dr. Fred Garvin with LeaderLabs. Until next time, in our next episode that drops every Sunday at 3 p.m. God bless you. Stay safe.